Welcome to another episode of Soulful Sundays. My name is Keita. Thank you guys for joining me for this week's episode. If you joined on last week, then you may recall where I was letting you guys know that I would be bringing forth messages as I am intuitively led, so they may or may not be on schedule as they used to be. Y'all, I need my brows done, so I'm serious, and my mustache, but can't see it if I sit back. But anywho, she's still cute out. I have been downloading a series of messages and observing some energies that have led me to, that have really just confirmed something that I've been thinking for a while now, that's been coming to me for a while now, and that is that just like at a certain period in history, we went through a great awakening and a renaissance and just different historical periods. I like to describe the period that we are experiencing now, to describe it as the humbling. We are being humbled as a collective, and new earth is being birthed as a result of that humbling, because so much of what the matrix has created, all of what the matrix has created, huge inflated distorted egos are the byproduct of. And so in order to dismantle those energies, the Most High is allowing each of us individually, collectively, on a communal level, to experience a humbling. So it would behoove all of us, when we're going through what we're going through, as we are trying to be more, as we are being, taking trying out of the vocabulary, more intentional about the way we're living and how we are learning different lessons and reflecting and being intentional about moving forward, following our North Star and discovering our life purpose, that we keep that in mind. Before you give in and give up and break down, it's a humbling. And the things that have led me to be so convicted in that message, in that knowing, is that I am seeing where a lot of people's inflated egos, including mine, are being called out and called on. And so we're having to really take the time now to discover those things within us that make us feel separate from one another, whether it's we think we better than people or we think we less than people. I don't like you because you dark skinned, and really the reason is because I don't like my own dark skin that I see in the mirror, which ain't true. That ain't never been an issue for me. But I'm using that as an example because that is something that some people suffer with. You know what I'm saying? You have lighter complected women who don't like dark complected men, because whether it's conscious to them or not, a dark complected man caused some trauma to them, and so it's like they dislike a whole hue of people because of what one individual or several individuals did, or vice versa. You may not like a light-skinned woman because your great-grandmother was a light-skinned woman and she was mean as a wet cat, or being judgmental toward a whole demographic of people, or being classist because this group of people lives this certain lifestyle and you live this lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, we claim to be like down to earth and can get along with any and everybody, but then we make these prejudiced remarks that say, not quite. You know what I'm saying? And those things are being called to the carpet and coming up for us as we are being put in different situations and scenarios and environments and experiences and conversations and things of that nature, for us to really face that part of ourselves, whether it's that we have an elitist um, standpoint on things, or that we have a poverty consciousness that we operate from, just whatever it is, there's a humbling that is taking place, and it's really requiring that we do some shadow work to be able to identify those things. And sometimes that shadow work will include exhibiting a behavior that people call you out on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may find yourself being called out on how you constantly down yourself, or talk bad about yourself, or are low vibrational in some way, or how you talk bad about other people, or experiences, or it's just a matter of facing yourself. That's what shadow work is all about: facing yourself, coming to understand that you are to embrace your light and your dark. And that don't mean you move about as a, I got a bad attitude, but that's just who I am. No, not that shit. Because you'll still get beat the fuck up. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's understanding I have a bad attitude. I'm working on it. It stems from these experiences. And I give myself grace, but I'm also actively on that that's what that is, and that I am working on it. And I also understand that that may mean that sometimes I'm vibing low. I need to recognize that in myself and sit my ass down somewhere and not take my low vibes amongst a group of people. You know what I'm saying? Or that it's acknowledging to yourself, yeah, I have insecurities, so I don't like to go out in the public and those insecurities be, what do you call it, amplified when I'm amongst other people and I'm comparing myself, or I'm trying to be the belle of the ball and stand out. But it's like facing them hard as truths that you don't want nobody to call you out on, and you damn sure don't want to call yourself out on. But getting to the next level, the ascension that's taking place, you're not going to be able to ignore it. Because for one thing, as a light worker, we're needing to not just talk about it, but be about it. We can't tell people to have esteem and chase their dreams and be high vibrational and all of these things, and then we not practice what we preach, because we have to give an account to the Most High for that. And then real recognize real. Like, at some point, somebody's going to see beyond that mask of false confidence, or false knowledge, or false wisdom that we portray. And meanwhile, we really feel this way about ourselves, or we really feel this way about other people, or you know what I'm saying? Like, we're having to really get in alignment and be authentic about what we promote, how we feel, how we act, what we're producing, what we're putting forth. There's no need of us showing up as light workers in the community, on YouTube, at work, in our collective spaces, at the Thanksgiving table, whatever, wherever you shine your light. There's no point in us doing that when behind closed doors we're whole fraud. You know what I'm saying? Or half a fraud. You know what I'm saying? Because if it ain't authentic, it just ain't. It ain't authentic, period. So we're definitely needed to be mindful of that, and that's a whole damn message without me even having to pull a card. But we're going to pull it anyway, because as we explore those things that make us show up in more of a separatist energy instead of in oneness, or low vibrational, hard on ourselves or hard on others, negative, or whatever the case may be, it's just letting us know we need to do some shadow work. And so I have the Lantern Oracle here that just gonna pull. Lord have mercy, these mosquitoes. We're gonna pull a couple of cards just to kind of coincide on now with the message. Damn bloodsuckers. And that's just how that energy is. That fake ass energy. It's draining. The negative energy. It's draining. The separatist energy. The pointing out how you're better than someone, or how someone's better than you, or you know what I'm saying? Like, all of those different things where we get to comparing and contrasting. It's draining. After a while, you get sick of hearing it, And whether we want to admit it or not, it drains us, not just the people that we are talking to or around. I know for me, um, and in the vein of lack consciousness or poverty consciousness, I'm always like, if somebody gives me a compliment, feeling the need to give one back. Or if someone does something nice for me, I'm immediately thinking of how I can repay you or do something nice for you. And I've had to, I say in the last year or so, really be intentional about just take the damn compliment. You deserve it. You is cute. Your shirt is cute. Your dress is cute. What you said was profound. Or whatever the compliment is. My energy is dope as fuck. Take the compliment. And you give them one whenever you deem it authentically appropriate, but you don't have to give one right in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Just have your moment. Be receptive. Allow people to serve you. That's one thing about me. I very much have a servant spirit, and that has been to my detriment from a standpoint of being codependent and people pleasing at a certain point in life. And so now my boundaries are a lot thicker. I can see emotional manipulation and my own codependency trying to rear up, you know what I'm saying? And then I have to get to that shadow work. I gotta journal. I gotta assess, why am I triggered? What I'm gonna do about it. And as this plane is drowning out my voice, planes are always symbols of synchronicities for seeing things from a higher perspective as I move forward. Because planes fly high. From a plane, you can see things from a higher perspective, and then a lot of shit beneath you. When you're on a plane, it don't even matter. You can't hardly tell what it is, but you can see very clearly the clouds and the air and the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? The smaller things are no longer as important. And so just to kind of adopt that mind frame when it comes to when we find ourselves being low vibrational or triggered in any way, feeling insecure, we're needing to tap into a more high vibrational energy of seeing things from a higher perspective. So let's see what the Lantern Oracle has to say. Father God, Mother Earth, ancestors, and spirit guides, I call you into this space to speak to your people. I thank you for the message that is about to come forth as we explore shadow work, as we are experiencing the humbling. What would you like the collective to know? What would you like the collective to work on? We got 3 messages here, speaking very much to how this humbling is getting us in alignment for what's to come, getting us in alignment for our life purpose. And the card presented here, first one out, number 22, women supporting women. Together, we can transcend our individual limitations. Listen, if you are the type of feminine energy, be you a man or a woman, that feels like you have to downplay another woman to exalt yourself, be it her physical appearance, her intellect, her style, her grace, the way she talks, her attitude. If you feel like you got to point out where she fucked up to make yourself look like a more high quality, as they like to say, and I hate that, woman, you're definitely needing to heed to this message, because together we can do far more than we can apart. And in all honesty, that woman is mirroring something to you about your own insecurities if you feel the need to point that out. And so we're needing to be very mindful of that, especially as it relates to looks. That shit can change at the drop of a dime, and what you find beautiful, somebody else may not. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, honey. So it just behooves us to keep our mouth off of one another, especially when it comes to, period, but especially when it comes to petty, trivial shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I know me, I find myself getting perturbed about things when there's education out there for us, especially as women, and we don't seek that knowledge or that wisdom, and instead we play into the patriarchy and put our future, our goals, our life purpose into the hands of some masculine energy. And I'm going to say toxic masculine energy, because anytime a man would allow you to do that, that's a toxic masculine energy seeking control for his own benefit. But when I see those type of things, I get perturbed. But in all actuality, it ain't my damn business. You know what I'm saying? It's my responsibility to pray for my sister. It's my responsibility to share my knowledge and wisdom with her should the opportunity present itself and she receive it. And then to keep my eyes focused on my journey, because she has her own journey to live, and that's been a hard lesson for me, because I love hard. I want to see everybody win, and especially in my female friendships, that has been the case. But I'm telling you, I done tightened up on my mind, my business ministry, and life has been beautiful ever since. So we want to keep in mind that together we can transcend our individual limitations. Cut it with the jealousy. Cut it with the insecurities, the little smart remarks, the talking bad about one another behind one another's back, the sarcasm, the lack of support. You know what I'm saying? Like, show up for your people. Because together you guys can do more and transcend your limitations far better than you can separately. I am going to read the message of the Women Supporting Women card, but I want to move to the next card and I'll come back to it, because the next card, number 8, weeping wound. You are not your wound. A lot of times when we are talking bad about one another, needing to be humbled, that ego comes from our wounding. And we show it when we have the audacity to speak down on one another and be low vibrational toward one another. We think we hiding or we masking it or we got our armor on, and in real actuality, like, that's a burning red flag. Anybody with a higher level of consciousness can see right through that. They can see the stab wounds. They can see the tears, the bloody tears running from your eyes. They can see your wound, and they see right through the facade that you put on, and the tough talk and the smart talk, the shit talk, the proud to be a shit talk, the being proud to be a shit talker. People can see right through that shit. That just come from a hurt place, because hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? And so we're needing to be mindful of how our wounds are showing up. How are our weeping wounds showing up? And it's represented by the number 8, because that's the type of thing that if we don't do that shadow work to heal and embrace and to face, that will block our abundance. 8 representing abundance. And the last card, my God, number 19, break it down to a 10, accountability. This woman here, she's carrying rocks in a wicker basket. And if she's taking accountability, that's more than likely a representation of her picking up stock rocks that she's thrown at other people. Not throwing a rock and hiding your hand, but taking accountability for how you have stoned other people, how you have judged other people, how you have done other people wrong, how you have spoken ill on other people. I know I was telling somebody, I've told a couple of people this awareness that I've come to recently, where I cannot stand, it's a strong boundary and a red flag for me, people who cannot hold themselves accountable or don't seem to have a level of self-awareness, where if they wrong me, and let's just say it's happened several times, not one time do you see where you did wrong and can circle back around and address where you may have offended me or did wrong. I always got to call you out. I always got to hold you accountable. You can't hold yourself accountable for your behavior. That's a problem for me. Those are the type of people who I here recently have been distancing myself from or no longer associate with. Because I ain't your mama. I'm not trying to have to call you to the carpet every time you own one. Every time your wounds are weeping. Every time you acting out and your inner child showing up and acting a fool. Every time you're intimidated or insecure and can't find it in yourself to support me as another woman. And I mean authentic support, not that fake, okay, I showed up, now I'm finna go. Okay, I clicked like, but I didn't watch the shit. You know what I'm saying? No, not that kind of support. Talking about real love and support. Those rocks. Do you hold yourself accountable? Or do you just do shit, say shit you ain't got no business saying, do shit you ain't got no business doing, and just move on? Because that's just who I am. People ain't got to deal with that shit. It says accountability. Responsibility is a gift of love to yourself and others. That's exactly how people end up an old lady in a shoe in a house with a bunch of cats. Not taking accountability for where you could be wrong, yo. Humble yourself. Top of the deck. Confusion. This card comes out so much when I use this deck. This woman is laying at the edge of the shore. She laid out. She need help because she's confused, don't know which way to go. And she's in the midst of a storm, lightning striking. And she has a lantern on her stomach, so somebody can find her and show her the rest of the way. Crying out for help, basically, but don't even got the strength. So I'm going to just lay here, damn near unconscious. Her eyes are closed. And the fact that she is immersed at the edge of land and water, she don't know whether she's going or coming. She ain't here. She's confused. Growth hurts, heals, and harnesses a way through the uncertainty. The things that this humbling is bringing forth for us is really, they're not comfortable things, like I said. The shit hurts to have to admit to yourself that you're this type of person, that you show up this way. But you have to take accountability. You have to turn that lantern on as you lay there without the strength to move forward or even knowing the direction to move forward. And admit, I need help. My light is on. Somebody come help me. Show me the grace that I'm showing myself right now by admitting that I was wrong or taking accountability for where I was wrong, for where I've been judgmental. Bottom of the deck. Ooh, I love this. Number 34, circles. Clarity begins in the eye of the storm. This is very much a 3 of Cups type of energy, except for you have an elder on a white horse. Because we are to rely on, count on the ways of the old. The coming together in sister circles, in communal spaces as men and women who are high vibrational and want to see each other win, who take accountability for our actions and the way we show up for one another. Because after the storm comes this kind of love. Look at the energy from the top of the card, top of the deck to the bottom of the deck. We're going from darkness and a blue healing energy, kind of like the dark night of the soul, a tower moment, into the light playing in the meadows, in the valley, dancing and celebrating together, not alone. Man was not meant to be an island. No longer confused, because you got a circle of people there that have your back, who show up for you because you show up for them, who love you unconditionally and show up for you when you don't show up for them, because even though you are not able to show up for them, you're not abusive. You know what I'm saying? Like, they see you trying, they see you showing yourself grace, and they see you showing them grace as best you can. That white horse represents action, being able to move forward, horsepower, standing strong like a stallion. So y'all, I hope that as you are experiencing this humbling, be you a man or a woman, that you learn to support women, especially as a woman. Nobody knows our experiences the way that we do. So it's always super sad when I see us tearing each other down. Don't nobody know what we go through mentally, physically, emotionally, economically like we do. Learn to support women. Men, y'all count on us for so much. Give back, pour into us. And I mean more than some fucking designer bags and a date to Applebee's or Red Lobster. You know what I'm saying? More than a foot rub. Get deeper with the women in your life. Hold yourselves accountable so that you don't put the burden of other people having to hold you accountable or leave you. Carry your own rocks. If you've thrown rocks, go back and pick them up and clean that shit up. Clean up where you went wrong. Clean up where you were offensive. Own your shit. Tend to your weeping wounds because they're showing up. You're no longer able to hide it. It's showing up in your behavior on a daily. When you're miserable, that miserable energy thrives for company. Misery loves company. Heal those wounds. Book your shadow readings with various light workers like myself. Shadow journal. Take some time to meditate. Take those spiritual baths. Really take some time to observe your behaviors. If you've been falling out with people, explore why. If you're in shitty relationships, explore why were you in alignment with that shitty relationship. I've had to come to a hard realization about that myself. And real talk, it ain't even that, it wasn't really that hard of a realization. It was a lesson meant to help me level up and then align with something more suitable for an empress. And that's the case. So ain't nothing hard about having to admit that and having to have learned that lesson. But do the work to clear up the confusion in your life. So I hope this message found you all well. If it didn't find you well, I hope that it leaves you well. I hope that in all things you remember to thine own self be true, and that you stay true to your majesty. Until next time, y'all. Peace.